Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us. This time we are going deep into the world of online relationship advice.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically, we're looking at a Reddit post that kind of went crazy viral.
I love these.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating how these online forums
Yeah?
give us a window into like all these challenges that people are going through in their relationships. And this particular post had it all. Trust communication, the role of fantasy in intimacy.
Okay, so let's set this up a little bit.
Yeah.
The original poster is a 27-year-old husband,
Okay.
and he's saying that his wife, who's also 27,
All right.
moaned another man's name
Oh, no.
during sex
Oh,
on their anniversary.
ouch on their anniversary.
Yeah, and to make it even worse, this guy is in their friend group.
Oh, my gosh.
So you can imagine the husband is understandably devastated,
Oh, yeah, totally.
right? He feels betrayed and confused,
Mm-hmm.
and he's sharing this story on Reddit looking for advice.
Yeah, well, and he mentions, too, that their marriage has been going through a little bit of a rough patch. Right.
They've actually been going to couples therapy
Oh, wow.
to try to work through some issues
Oh, it's already kind of
in a vulnerable place.
yeah, vulnerable spot.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
Oh, and you know what's ironic? Is that they were actually assigned
Oh, no.
intimacy exercises as part of their therapy.
Oh, my God.
Talk about awkward timing.
Oh, so bad.
Right.
So he confronts his wife about it, obviously.
Hmm.
And what does she say?
Well, initially, she just kind of downplays it, you know?
Oh, really?
She says it was just a meaningless slip of the tongue.
Just a slip of the tongue.
Yeah, the friend's name just popped into my head because I was texting him earlier in a group chat.
Oh, so she's blaming it on the group chat.
Yeah, basically.
But he keeps pressing her for more information.
Of course.
Right. Because this is a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And especially with the couples therapy sessions going on,
Mm-hmm.
she eventually kind of reveals a little bit more of the truth. So she admits that she's been having fantasies about the friend,
Okay.
but she insists that they're meaningless,
Meaningless.
purely for her own arousal. You know,
right.
she assures her husband that she never wants to actually be with this friend.
Hmm.
So it's just this like fantasy thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this whole like slowly revealing information,
Yeah.
this is a classic example of trickle truthing.
Trickle truthing.
Have you heard of that?
I have heard of trickle truthing.
Yeah.
It's where someone initially denies something
Right.
and then like little bits of the truth.
Grip, drip, grip, drip.
Yeah, they come out like
Yeah.
over time.
Exactly. And it's often when they're like confronted
Right.
with evidence or pressure.
Yeah.
And it is so damaging to relationships.
Oh, totally.
Because it just erodes trust.
Mhm.
Every time a new detail is revealed, it just undermines the other person's sense of security and confidence in the relationship.
Absolutely.
It's like, how can you believe anything they say anymore?
Right. And the poor husband in this case
Yeah.
is just left feeling even more hurt and confused.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, she's admitting to fantasizing about someone else,
Yeah.
but she's denying any physical infidelity.
Right. So this brings up a really important point about the different types of infidelity.
Okay.
You know, we often think of physical cheating as like the ultimate betrayal,
Right.
but emotional infidelity can be just as devastating.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
It really is.
a betrayal of trust on a
So-
whole nother level.
Emotional infidelity is when you develop a deep emotional connection with someone outside of your primary relationship.
Right.
It can involve sharing intimate details,
Okay.
confiding in someone other than your partner, or even developing romantic feelings for that person.
So in this situation, the husband is grappling with the fact that his wife has been fantasizing about someone else.
Yeah.
Someone they both know personally.
And that just adds a whole other layer of complexity.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because now it's not just some random person, it's
Yeah.
like someone they see.
Right.
At parties.
At parties they hang out with.
Exactly.
And it's blurring the lines between like a harmless fantasy
Mm,
and a potential emotional connection.
yeah, for sure.
So the Reddit community, as always, had a lot to say about this situation.
I bet they did.
Hundreds of comments poured in, offering all sorts of perspectives and advice.
So what were some of the things people were saying?
Well, so some commenters were immediately suspicious.
Really?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were like, this is infidelity.
She's cheating.
You need to investigate further coming up.
Right.
Check phone records, social media activity.
Mm.
Like they were convinced that the slip of the tongue during intimacy was a sign of something more serious.
Okay. Interesting.
Other commenters were focusing on the possibility of an emotional affair,
All right.
emphasizing the importance of open communication. And they were saying, You guys need to have a deeper conversation
Deeper conversation.
about your needs, your desires, your boundaries.
Yeah.
What are you comfortable with? What are
Yeah.
you not comfortable with? Now, here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Some commenters were arguing that fantasizing during sex is perfectly normal,
Oh, really?
and it shouldn't necessarily be a deal breaker.
Hmm.
They were pointing out that people often use mental imagery to enhance their arousal,
Okay. Yeah.
and that doesn't always reflect a desire to actually be with that other person.
So it's like using your imagination
Yeah,
to
exactly.
kind of spice things up.
And this is where it gets really fascinating because it raises questions about the role of fantasy in
Mhm.
intimacy,
Yeah.
the boundaries between our inner world and the realities of our relationships,
Yeah.
and the different ways we define and experience betrayal.
It's a really gray area.
It's a very gray area.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're in this gray area now where like the lines between fantasy and reality,
Right.
harmless thoughts and potential betrayal, it's all getting kind of blurry.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, on one hand, we all have thoughts and fantasies
Sure.
that we don't act on. Like our minds wander, we imagine different scenarios, and that's a normal part of being human.
Right. But when those fantasies involve someone you know personally,
Yeah.
especially like someone in your social circle,
Right.
that adds a whole other level of complication.
Absolutely. Because it's one thing to fantasize about a celebrity or a fictional character.
Right.
Those fantasies are safely contained within our imagination.
Exactly.
But when it's someone you interact with in real life, it can really blur the lines.
Yeah.
And it raises questions about our emotional boundaries.
Yeah. In this case, the husband is probably thinking, is my wife secretly attracted to this friend?
Exactly.
Is she comparing me to him?
Yeah.
Does she wish she was with him instead of me?
And those feelings of jealousy and insecurity are totally understandable.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if the wife is saying that the fantasies are meaningless,
Right.
the husband's trust has been shaken,
Mm.
he's now having to face the possibility that his wife might be emotionally invested in someone else.
On some level.
Yeah, even if it's just subconscious.
And the fact that she initially tried to downplay it
Yeah.
and then only gradually revealed the truth through this trickle truth thing.
It makes it so much worse.
Yeah, it makes the husband question her honesty and makes it so much harder for him to believe her when she says that it's nothing.
Exactly. Trickle truthing is deception, even if it's not intentional.
Right.
It creates doubt and mistrust, and that can be really hard to repair.
So what was the advice that the Reddit community was giving?
It was all over the place,
Okay.
which is kind of typical for Reddit,
Sure.
but there were some common themes. Some commenters were like, investigate further, try to find evidence of an affair.
Like a full-on detective.
Yeah, like check phone records, social media,
Wow.
that kind of thing.
Okay.
Others were emphasizing communication.
Right.
Like,
right.
have an open and honest conversation about your feelings, your boundaries, and expectations for the relationship.
Really lay it all out there.
Exactly.
Now, this is interesting.
Okay.
Some people were suggesting that the husband should try to understand and accept his wife's fantasies as a normal part of her sexuality. Yeah, they were saying that as long as she wasn't acting on them, it shouldn't be a threat to their relationship.
That's a pretty progressive viewpoint.
It is, and this brings up such an important point about how differently we all view fidelity and betrayal.
For sure. For some people, any kind of emotional or sexual connection outside the relationship, even if it's just in their mind,
Right.
is a betrayal.
Like even thinking about it is crossing the line.
Yeah, but for others, it's more about actions and behaviors.
So as long as there's no physical or emotional cheating involved.
Exactly. Fantasies are harmless and private.
So in this couple situation,
Yeah,
it really highlights how important it is to have clear and open communication
absolutely.
about all of this stuff. What are each person's boundaries? What are their expectations for fidelity? How do they feel about fantasies?
It's not always easy to have those conversations, though,
No, it's not.
but they are so crucial for building trust and maintaining a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because without that open communication, people make assumptions.
Right.
Doubts start to fester.
Yeah, and resentment builds up over time.
And that's never good.
No, it's a recipe for disaster. So where do we go from here with this couple?
Yep. They're at a crossroads.
They are.
The husband is feeling hurt and betrayed. The wife is trying to defend her actions.
Right.
Their relationship is kind of hanging in the balance.
Mm-hmm.
What are their options? I mean, it sounds like they could either just try to ignore this and hope it goes away,
Yeah.
or they could like really face it head on and try to work through it together.
I think ignoring it is rarely the answer.
Yeah.
Unresolved issues tend to just fester and they resurface later.
Yeah. And usually not in a good way.
No, not in a good way at all. And they're already going to couples therapy.
That's true.
So they have like a built-in support system to help them navigate this.
Yeah. It seemed like therapy could be a really good place for them
Totally.
to have those conversations.
Right, in a safe space.
Yeah, in a safe space, about boundaries, about expectations, about what constitutes betrayal for each of them.
Exactly. A therapist can help them understand each other's perspectives better,
Okay.
develop better communication skills, and start to rebuild that trust.
Yeah, it's important for the husband to be able to express his hurt and for the wife to acknowledge that what she did was hurtful.
Yeah, even if she didn't intend for it to be,
Right.
it still had an impact.
This whole situation makes me think about forgiveness.
Oh, yeah?
Is it even possible for the husband to truly forgive his wife for fantasizing about this other man?
Especially someone they both know.
Yeah,
Yeah, forgiveness is tough. It's a process.
it is.
It's not about condoning the behavior or saying that it was okay.
Right.
It's more about choosing to let go of the anger and resentment that are holding you back.
So it's more about you than the other person.
Yeah, it's about releasing yourself from that burden of carrying the pain.
So even if he forgives her, it doesn't mean he just pretends like it never happened.
Exactly.
Or that it didn't hurt.
Right. He's just choosing to release those negative emotions.
To move forward.
Yeah, and forgiveness, it's a journey. It's not like a destination.
Oh, that's good.
It takes time and effort, and you have to be willing to work through those tough emotions.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, there might be setbacks, moments of doubt, but ultimately it's about creating space for healing and growth in the relationship.
Well, this has been a really interesting deep dive
It has.
into the world of online relationship advice.
We got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly
We did.
of relationships.
It really shows you the challenges that couples face, the complexities of trust and intimacy.
And the importance of communication and forgiveness.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this deep dive.
Oh, yeah. Head over to our YouTube channel, Shauna Pelage.
Leave a comment, let us know what you think, and while you're there, hit that subscribe button.
And don't forget to subscribe to Voices of the Soul for more thought-provoking conversations.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Until next time.